Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Smoke Signals with Sosa, the place where I scour the earth looking for the most intense, hard-hitting, pepperiest cigars the industry has to offer, and I smoke them, see if they live up to the hype. Now, as you know, I'm also in search of my unicorn, which is a cigar with so much pepper that I tear right from the beginning with the very first retro, and so packed with nicotine that I'll definitely get the hiccups and hopefully some kind of bubble guts. It's odd, I know, but here we are. And here you are, watching intently to see if today's the day I might shit my pants. There's like a moving truck or something happening outside, so there might be a little bit of noise in the background. I'll try and work around that. It's almost time to take the tent down. I'm super excited for that. Just trying to wait out for some of this rain. And then we'll have a completely different view. Today's episode is one of my personal favorites. It is the Foundation, the Tabernacle Night Commander. This is a beautiful cigar with a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. Look at that beautiful wrapper. Nice band. It is a 6.7 by 52 Perfecto with a nice little nipple tip. I love this cigar. This cigar gets a lot of hate, and we'll talk about that. Nick Melillo, who's the founder of Foundation, created this cigar after receiving the title of Knight Commander of the Ethiopian Star of Honor by the Ethiopian Crown Council. Pretty prestigious title. To be an actual knight, walk around and tell people you're a knight commander of the Ethiopian Star of Honor. I mean, that sounds amazing. Imagine putting that in your signature on every email. It's amazing. 100% of the proceeds of this cigar go towards Ethiopian charities, such as scholarships, rebuilding churches, and so forth and so on. All a great cause. 100% of the proceeds, all a great cause. Now, the downside to this beautiful toothy bastard is the price. It is $40 MSRP. You can get them a little less than that, but I mean, it's a good cause. It's a great cigar. It gets a lot of hate, and we'll discuss that. Starting with the shape, right? Because not everybody likes Perfectos. I know some people who cut the little nipple tip off. I personally have always been a fan of Perfectos and Figurados, and I like the little nipple tip. For many reasons. I find it easy to light with a single match, and also I find it has a slow-going buildup of anticipation. You're just waiting for the cigar to open up because the draw is so tight because the hole is so small. Now, I know everybody cuts however they cut. I like a Cuban cut or an angled straight cut on Perfectos and Figurados. I'm a, stickler for a guillotine. I like a straight cut. So when it comes to Perfectos, I do the angle. I still get a nice wide draw, open draw, a nice wide surface area of smoke on the tongue. So anyway. Right off the bat, nice stingy sinus retro. Lots of pepper in there. There's lots of chocolate and cocoa. Some deep notes of cocoa. That pepper really, really hits. Look at it, a little bit of tears there. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it has a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, a Mexican San Andreas binder, and fillers from Nicaragua. And it's made by AJ Fernandez, so you know to expect some pepper. It's just a wonderful cigar. Now, I love the cigar because I love the power that it brings in the beginning, and I love a lot of dark notes, right? If you're a fan of, I don't know, Plasencia Almafuerte, for example, there's lots of chocolatey notes and earthy notes that are in there that I really enjoy, even though I prefer the Solomon and even the Hexagon 660. They're big cigars, but you get a lot of those notes. Now, I would argue that the Plasencia has a very raisiny flavor that I enjoy, which you get less of that here. But this is a rewarding cigar if you like both those dark notes and a little bit of intensity. Does not disappoint when it comes to smoke production. Still waiting for that cherry to open up, but lots of milk chocolatey qualities, lots of spices dancing on the palate, right on the tongue. A lot of times when you hear the word spice, you got to use context, right? Because there could be baking spice, it could be a spice, you know, a cinnamony, cumin, nutmeggy spice, or it could be peppers, right? But even then, is it white pepper, black pepper, red pepper? They all hit different. Those are more when you're talking about retros, but can also be on the palate. But a lot of times on the palate, when you talk about spice, it's like a tingly sensation. Oh, it went out. That's a shame. I'm a big fan of Foundation Cigars. Those that know me know. I really enjoy the original Tabernacle, which is the broadleaf Maduro, much like this one. It's a little bit darker, actually. And I love the Lancero. All sizes are great in that cigar. From the, I think it's the David, you know, the Little Perfecto, the Corona, the Lancero, the Toro, the double Corona. And I'm not usually a double Corona guy. That's a good one. Still getting a peppery sting on the retro, not as intense as initial light up, but still very much present. More white pepper than black, so it's less aggressive, but still very stingy. Enough to still keep water creeping into the corners of your eyes. Chocolatiness is still there on the palate. Let's focus on the palate for a second. There's a woodiness, still lots of cocoa, a little bit of coffee creeping in, which you expect in some darker tones. Not a lot of earth right now. We know that I've smoked this before, so earthiness will ramp up. This is a yearly release. It's one that I jump on every year when they come out. I know last year's, I want to say, looked a little bit darker and was a little bit punchier. But this is still great. So I decided to go with the Night Commander for this episode because we've had so many disappointments. That rather than blind buy another cigar and smoke it here with you, I thought, you know what? Let's get one that I know I'm going to be satisfied with. one that will showcase exactly the kind of cigars that I really enjoy, right? And again, everyone's palate's different. There is no right or wrong answer. Anyway, I'm going to smoke past this first third, and we'll come back and talk some more about it. See you. Well, folks, we're coming out of the first third. As you can see, smoke production is still phenomenal. Construction is great. The burn line is a little rough, but not really. I mean, it keeps itself pretty clean. It cleans itself up. I have not had to touch up the cigar once. Other than that time, I had to relight it because I was too busy talking early on in the beginning, when I should have been paying attention to the nipple. I'm going to ash that. The first third, we know in the initial light up, we had to let the intensity of pepper that lingered for a while, right? The white pepper and the pepper sting slowly started to dissipate, but initially was fully intense. Got some tears for a minute there in the beginning, which were nice. Now, maybe none fell, but I mean, I was welling each time. There was a lot of chocolate initially, with a little bit of woodiness. On the palate, there was cocoa and, coffee. In the first third, like I said, the white pepper was on the retro, although dying down, still very chocolatey, with notes of, at the time, it was prunes. I got a lot of prunes on the palate and kind of in the back of the retro, which is very enjoyable, especially with those chocolatey notes. That slowly transitioned into what was more of a hickory style wood, a deeper hickory or mesquite kind of woody note. And the prunes at that time changed into what was more of a cherry or black cherry. Still wafts of cocoa, very little coffee. Good smoke production. Definitely way more mellow than it was initially. Again, the cigar gets some hate, mostly I want to say for the price point, because at $40 a stick, a cigar should really wrinkle your balls, which for me it does. I get all the flavors I want out of this thing. A lot of people feel like it gets boring after a while, which, you know, it's almost 7 inches. That could be a factor. I think the fact that it starts off so intense and then dies off in intensity brings that kind of thought pattern to the forefront of the mind. Because right up front, you get a flavor blast. Spice, pepper, chocolate, wood, and then it just slowly softens, for lack of a better term. Very rewarding in that sense. If you're not super into pepper blasts, once you get past that initial blast, you're rewarded with, you know, chocolate and stuff. Right now in the second third, I'm getting lots of cocoa. Not a lot of earthiness, although it's in the background there. The wood has died down immensely. So has the stone fruit, that pruny, cherry stone fruit flavor. That's pretty much gone. Right now, it's very much cocoa. This is a great cigar, and I think that plays a factor into why it gets so much hate. And I think also people expect, you know, if you're a fan of the Tabernacle, especially that OG Maduro, if you're a fan of the Tabernacle, I think you know, the misconception is that the Tabernacle Night Commander is going to be this incredibly intense, hard-hitting tabby, right? On steroids. And it starts that way, but then mellows out. And I think that expectation also changes the way people look at the cigar or feel about it with time. The sun is starting to rise over the roof. It's going to hit me directly in the face. Got a little run in the stocking there. Starting to climb right there in that spot, but let's we're going to leave her alone and just smoke normal and see if she doesn't fix herself up. I anticipate she will. She's done so far so good, and so good so far. So, on both accounts, I have faith. Again, I'll smoke this third, and we'll come back. We'll talk some more. We're back. We're in final third territory. As you can see, the cigar did a pretty good job of catching back up. It's got a little bit of a spot there that's uneven, but I mean, I haven't touched it up. Construction's solid. Let's ash that and we'll get the band off. Second, third was, I mean, I like it, right? Again, we've decrescendoed in intensity. Flavor profile has opened up to something more mellow. The second, third had more cocoa. Mostly cocoa, actually. The stone fruit dissipated, that's all gone. Pepper, all gone. Wood, almost non-existent, although, you know, still present, still back there. There's whispers of earth on the palate, and right now I'm getting a pumpernickel toast kind of thing, like that. I don't know how to describe it if you've never had pumpernickel, but that's, it's that. That's, go out and buy you a slice of pumpernickel. Go get a whole loaf and cut out the middle and eat it, and then toast the slice and then eat that. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm enjoying the hell out of the cigar. I always do. I forgot to mention in the beginnings, when everything was very intense in that first third, I did get halfway through that first third hiccups, albeit they didn't last very long. They were short-lived. There was that hiccup, and nicotine has been sitting high in the belly area, high in the gut here, ever since. So, which I like, right? I used to be a heavy cigarette smoker, and for me, that was one of the things that I always hated about more medium and mild cigars, was that I'd sit here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, smoke a cigar, and then internally my brain would say, okay, let's smoke a cigarette now and have some nicotine. And so that's one of the reasons why I always look for that nicotine intensity, right? I used to smoke, rip a couple boxes of cigarettes a day, a couple packs. So to satisfy that craving, a strong cigar that, after I'm done smoking it, my brain's like, okay, I'm good for a while. That became something I looked for, and still is something that satisfies that craving, right? Because I think the only thing worse than watching somebody chain smoke cigarettes is watching somebody chain smoke cigars, which I'm not against, but I shouldn't have to spend another 2 hours on top of the 2 hours I just spent smoking to satisfy a nicotine craving. I just want it in that first cigar. So this cigar definitely has delivered. Still very pumpernickel. It's a dark bread, look it up. Less cocoa. I don't know if that's a florality, pumpernickel-y sensation I'm getting, but I mean, it's good. It's still grainy. And, you know, that's not a bad flavor to get in a cigar as far as I'm concerned. Although, you know, dark. Great dark flavors. You know, as we approach the end of the cigar, is it as exciting as it was in the beginning? No, but I mean, the beginning was pretty damn intense. You know, there's not many people that I think if they made that cigar crescendo from there would smoke it or purchase it. You know, it comes in a beautiful box of 12. It's a wonderful box with a nice little lock, and it's 2 layers of trays of 6 cigars in each. Elegant presentation. I'm excited about the 10-year anniversary that comes out late summer, early fall, I believe, this year by Foundation. It's going to be the same Vitola, so what, 6.7 we said by 52 in a Perfecto, in almost the same box shape, double stacked trays, which is sexy. But the cigar itself will be more medium to medium full. Very excited to see what that's like. I mean, I have been a big fan of Foundation since I accidentally stumbled upon them. If you push it all, you get a little bit of sting right here. So that was nice. Little welling in the corner there. Love that. Satisfying retro for me throughout the cigar. You know, even in those moments where it was no pepper, no intensity, no sting, really, you got all those wafts of chocolate. Really enjoy the cigar. Foundation as a brand, as I was saying, I mean, there's such a wide array, so many choices, such a spectrum of flavors, from the Oxum Clado to the Olmec Maduro, the Tabernacles. Even the Tabernacles, you have the, what is that, the Havana Seed, the hybrid. That's more mellow than the original broadleaf Tabernacle, still flavorful and more medium full to full, but still very much a great cigar. I mean, even their Charter Oaks, which is their, you know, more budget-friendly sticks, love Charter Oak. In fact, the Especiales, you have that Pegnataro, Connecticut, and I'm not a Connecticut guy, love that cigar. And Pascual, I think, is the name of the Maduros, also very tasty. So I'll finish this up. I'll smoke the rest of the cigar, and I'll come back with a wrap-up. Well, we're way down here now, approaching the nub on this cigar. It did a pretty good job. I mean, it's got a little wonkiness to it, but I mean, it kept up with itself, and I haven't touched it up, and I got no complaints on the construction of this cigar. Final third. I can see where some people might not like where the direction it goes in. Stabilize that. The breadiness is still very prominent, but there's a florality that kind of takes over the palate, which not everybody's favorite. I'm not a huge fan of florality. If you give it a full retro, you still get a nice sting. There's cedar on there with earthiness, and you know, the cocoa is more of a whisper, where on the palate you still get notes of cocoa, but that florality and that graininess is still right in the forefront. The pumpernickel-y type bread has become more rye, so a little bit more bright, but still with that spiciness you get from rye, or even less so in pumpernickel, but it was a little bit there. For me, I still got that feeling in my tummy of I've had some nicotine, with what feels like a buildup of what could be the hiccups, but I haven't gotten the hiccups. Again, I'm no stranger to this cigar. That's why I picked it. I love this cigar. For me, it's box worthy. It's $40 a stick MSRP. You can get it lower. I've gotten it, you know, for as little as, 30 something dollars. On average, I would get them for about 38. I've seen them on certain websites by the box at a really good discount. Not half off, but a really good discount. So, if you're into it, for me, box worthy. If I could justify spending the price without getting divorced, I would. It's a cigar that, again, it comes out once a year. Get a couple. Let them sit. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to get a little bit toothier. And, that's never a bad thing. So they don't come in a cello. So just be mindful of that. They are unwrapped in their packaging, in their box. So, anticipate that if you're buying them and, keeping them for long periods of time. It is, again, Connecticut broadleaf, so not a delicate wrapper. So you don't have to worry too much. But, they're not in cello, so take care of them. Overall, for me, for the sake of what we do here, it's not maximum intensity. It's lots of peppers. I'm not going to give it 5 peppers because it wasn't peppery throughout, right? It had some sting, but you had to work for it. You had to give it that full, slow retro in order to get some sting throughout. Maximum intensity almost right in the beginning with initial, eyes welling up for a while throughout the initial retro without even having to try hard. So lots of pepper, good amount of nicotine, not quite a belly buster. Tearjerker, maybe a little bit, especially in the beginning. Fuck, that shit brings tears right to your eyes right in the beginning. So overall, I'm gonna give it probably 3 out of 5 peppers. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 in intensity. This is a great cigar for me. Belly buster, we'll give it a 1 or 2. Belly rumbler. I got a little bit of the hiccup, a little bit of that nicotine feeling in the belly, but never a gurgle, not a fart, but still a great cigar. It's early in the morning here because I like to do these on an empty stomach and first thing in the morning. So the question for me really is just where do we go from here? I feel like I'm going to wind up smoking some Foundation cigars today. I've got, an Olmec in there, plenty of Menelix. I love me a Menelix. Still sad that was discontinued, but I mean, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to have me a great day one way or the other. It's filled with lots of cigars. I'm off today. It's beautiful out. I got the windows open in my tent. Got like 1 or 2 more rainy days to get past, then we'll take the tent down and you'll have a wonderful view of my pine tree, which is right behind me. So anyway, thanks for watching. Go get a Night Commander. Try it out. Maybe you're one of those guys that doesn't like it or that find it boring. And it's okay to be wrong. Love you guys. See you soon.